Hi guys, I'm Jess.
I'm Sinead.
I'm Adam.
I'm Cassie. And we're the Movie Rats.
The show where a bunch of crackhead film students talk about films.
Warning, this podcast contains goblins, ghouls, and stop shouting at your mom!
Welcome to the Movie Rats.
Hey guys, welcome to the Halloween special.
Spooky.
The spooky
It's a
episode.
spookies episode.
So we have a little bit of a different, structure layout for you today because Adam is not here. But worry not, your dreams have come true. Kate is filling in.
She's
So
returned.
everyone say hi
it's me.
to
Wow.
Miss Strawberry Stripe on Instagram.
I've rebounded.
So yeah. So it is
We
the Halloween
branded.
special.
Oh.
Obviously, when we're recording this, it's not actually Halloween. It's also not actually Halloween
Every
when
day
this
is
episode
Halloween
comes out.
when
But
we get-
Bro, every day
this episode
Halloween.
is going to come out a couple of days before Halloween. So we thought we'd do
So
something
yous are
special. If you
welcome.
guys are going to be watching, by the way, this is like a little note from editing, Cassie. I actually am finally starting to edit all the videos together.
Wow.
So eventually you'll be able to see this in this episode in video format. So if you would like, it's going to be a good video because obviously
great.
if you're listening
yeah.
to this on Spotify, you can't tell, but all of us are a little bit dressed up, which was kind of a last minute decision. We all just like full on went for it. Anyway,
Ugh.
so
You're not just going to tell them what we're dressed up
Yeah, you
as?
can-
No, it's a surprise.
No, it's not, because then they don't have to go
I'll
watch
post,
it.
no, I'll post it. We'll post a photo on Instagram.
Yeah. We'll
Check out
pause
our
right now.
Instagram, guys.
Check,
Oh,
also
yeah.
do that. Check out our Instagram.
Instagram, guys.
I'll edit a beautiful picture. Don't you guys even worry about it.
Okay.
Don't even
anyway.
worry about it, sweetheart.
So,
hate
yeah, so today is our Halloween special. So we have some themed discussion for you. Obviously,
Spooky movies.
we are a movie review podcast, and the best way to honor the day of
Spooks.
horror and spookiness is to review a couple of horror movies. So,
Also, this is an Irish podcast, which automatically makes it the best, like, Halloween, like, podcast.
Oh yeah,
What?
because we invented it.
Halloween.
We
Oh.
invented this iteration of Halloween. We invented it.
We
Alright.
This is our event.
Yeah,
so-
Sporing Brack.
so yeah,
Ew.
today we are going
Did you ever
to.
get the ring?
What?
I did.
It's a thing in Irish culture. You have this brack, which is rotten.
Cake. It's
It's like
lovely with
cake.
butter.
Oh, Sinead, you're a culture.
That reminds me of the thing in Mexican culture for Christmas when you like there's a little baby Jesus and
Oh yeah, and then you're meant to have a baby, right?
I don't know that that's what
Oh.
that means, but I'm also not super religious and I'm also not super Mexican, so I can really tell you.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway,
Sorry.
right. So today we are going to discuss a pair of movies for our series topic.
Pair of it's.
If you would.
Well, so okay, yeah.
Oh,
Let's
God.
just bring it in. So today we are going to review both It films that are based off of the Stephen King novel.
The remake.
Yes, the remake.
I
So
thought you said
the remake.
Penny Bull Wise.
So obviously, yeah. So for anyone, I'm pretty sure everyone knows that it was originally made in the
TV
80s,
series?
90s.
Yeah,
90s.
92.
It was originally made in the 90s, with Tim Curry playing the
Icon.
iconic
Icon.
version of Pennywise.
You got
and
Albert
so-
in a can.
We
got
are
a
going
lot
to be reviewing the remake that was made in 2017 and 2019.
Amazing.
So,
Yes.
Phenomenal.
are we ready to go in for the fun
Yeah.
facts?
Yeah.
Cass.
Actually, so I'm gonna go ahead and give just general fun facts for the whole, like both films, just like the whole thing.
Go on. We love a
I don't
juicy
actually
fun
have a
fact
ton
moment.
of fun facts overall. There's a lot of fun things that happened about in during production, which we'll kind of get into when we really talk about it. But just generally my fun facts, there's not that many. So,
What's your fun fact?
so the first one, and this we'll kind of get into a little bit later when we start talking
Okay.
about the actors' choices. But Jaden Martell, the kid who plays Bill,
Mhm.
he used the King's Speech as inspiration for his stutter because Bill has a stutter.
I'm sure. Okay.
For whatever
That's
reason,
cute.
I just found that delightful because I was just
I'm-
like, what a professional. Like,
He's
you
a
know,
very
doing his-
professional kid.
yeah.
He's in a lot. Yeah.
oh, I know all of these kids are.
I'm so stupid. When sometimes I sneak a peek at the looks, and when I said King's Speech, my brain went, did he just listen to Stephen King talk?
Oh
Stephen
my
King
God.
doesn't have a
No, the King's Speech with Colin
I
Firth.
know.
I was forced to watch The King's Speech so many times in school.
Were you?
I didn't
Why?
have a stutter.
I think my estate knows that we're doing a Halloween episode because there's a child walking around with one of those bats with like hard chain around it, like a sharp chain.
So if Kate dies during this episode, the episode will continue.
That's fucking
Pennywise is gonna like pop
terrifying.
out in the background of her video.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like that new
Running
horror
around.
film, the one that's like the Zoom horror.
That's it. The Host. That's not a bad movie. I watched it.
I honestly haven't seen it, so I wouldn't know. I'll
Can
have
we
to
not
watch
do
it.
an impression of Unfriended?
Okay.
Oh.
So, next fun fact. Hugo Weaving was a finalist for Pennywise.
Who?
Hugo
So
Weaving.
what's really upsetting is that if Adam were here, he'd know what I'm talking about.
Is
He
he
plays
the
no.
orange
he
dude?
plays Elrond in The Lord of the Rings.
I'm
looking
He
at
also
that.
plays
He's in Matrix.
yeah, he
Man.
also plays Agent
He's
Smith
in
in The
Marvel,
Matrix.
right?
Who's he in Marvel?
He's
Oh,
Red
yeah.
Skull.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in the. Oh no, he's not. I was gonna say he's in the Purge movies. That's Crossbone.
Anyway,
okay.
but yeah, so I think it's fascinating though that Hugo Weaving would have been Pennywise. Obviously, I think that they made the right decision, but I read what I
Will
read about it, they
Poulter.
said that Hugo Weaving and Bill Skarsgård were the two top finalists for Pennywise, and the reason that they chose Bill Skarsgård is that he kind of was able to kind of bring in a little bit of childishness to the character that Hugo Weaving was.
Well-
So that obviously Pennywise is quite a creepy, scary, like,
Dude.
you know, character, but he also is quite childish, and Hugo Weaving was really good at bringing in the creepy, like, scary stuff, but he really couldn't just pull in the childishness, and that's why Bill Skarsgård ended up getting the role.
He's a childish Gambino.
So, and we'll talk about Bill Skarsgård more
Actor.
later on. But
It was Will Poulter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They had another actor at cast. Was Will Porter?
Mhm.
Porter, like that.
oh yeah, no,
But
well,
that was for the Kari Fukunaga script.
yeah, I was gonna
This-
say
yeah.
because
Oh,
this
it's for a different
so.
script.
Yeah.
It chapter 1, basically when they announced that they were going to do a remake, it took about 7 years for them to fully develop the idea, and they had several directors signed on to the project. And yeah, so there were a couple of other people signed on to play Pennywise, but those were before
Andy Bruscetta came in.
yeah.
Andy
They-
Bruscetta.
And
Andy Mushy Titty.
Andy Bruscetta.
Andy
Andy Pandy.
Kari Fukunaga script is fucking fire. It's kind of
I read
shit,
it.
but the horror parts are like so disgusting, and I wish that's what this movie
It's
was.
like, it's super gross, but then they turn around and they go, Stan's a fish. Stan
yeah,
is Bill's
that's not
pet
person in it, he's
goldfish.
a fish.
All right, well, and we'll get into the script in
We'll
a
get
second.
into
But
a different
so
moment.
two more fun facts.
Yes.
Give me
So it was what? So and I think these are quite commonly known. That Bill Skarsgård, was questionable whether he was going to come back for the second one because of the toll that playing Pennywise was taking on his mental health.
Oh, yeah.
Wearing
And
a
I mean
tight
that's very
fuck off.
similar.
No,
that's very
he's
similar.
right.
No, that's very similar to something like like Heath Ledger who played the Joker
Yeah.
and the toll that it took on him. Because playing something that is that like inherently like you know psychotic and getting
Nasty.
into that character and like really truly evil is very difficult to do, obviously. And so yeah, and so like it was stated also like it was questionable that he was going to come back. Obviously that was never like a confirmed like you know true because basically before the second was even confirmed to be like you know funded by the studio, like before the studios even took it on, like Bill and Andy were already having conversations about him coming back for the second one. So he was always going to come back. But one interesting fact about it is that it did take a toll on his mental health. He admitted to having like like constant nightmares before, like during and after production. So like even after he was done playing in It Chapter 2, he was like consistently having nightmares afterward about like and he described his nightmares as he was fighting Pennywise the way that the kids had to. which
What
can
the
you imagine
fuck?
having those
Oh
kinds
my
of
God.
crazy years,
It's
especially
'cause
after
he's a
being in that
scared.
character,
Yeah.
right?
That's kind of sad.
But anyway, so my last one is this
I
one's
take it
really
back.
like this one made me like
Go
kind
on,
of
Kate.
like really upset. Like
Oh.
so once again, I think this is quite commonly known fact that Bill Skarsgård was kept away from the children
Yeah.
during
In a
the
box.
filming of the first one because they really wanted the kids to kind of be like,
I think I know this fact.
yeah, they wanted the kids to kind of have like a really specific,
Reaction.
genuine reaction to Bill playing Pennywise. And so obviously like it would kind of be difficult for them to do that if they knew Bill personally before they, met with him on set for like their scenes and stuff. But like what was really upsetting about it is that like Bill during an interview was talking about how he actually like wasn't really enjoying like filming it because he was just kept away from everyone, and he got really upset because he heard about how much fun all the kids were having, on set, and how all the actors were,
Andy
and he was
Bruscetta.
just like
Fuck
sitting in the
Andy
background like
Bruscetta.
not being able to like and
That's so...
he stated publicly also that he much preferred to film the second one because he was able to interact with all the other actors because it was a little bit easier for like
Oh,
the
this is
adult
so
actors
sad.
to take on the roles.
pretend to be scared
Yeah.
of things.
Oh my
So
God, fuck
I
Andy
just thought
Bruscetta.
that was so upsetting. So I was just like,
Yeah.
oh no, Bill, poor thing. But yeah, actually, and one more fun fact. This is kind of just going off of that, but I mean, this just comes from my favorite interview with Bill Skarsgård, where he's actually talking about working with the children. And he said this story quite a few times. Is that specifically with
Jack Dylan Grazer.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
Jack Dylan
this is the
Grazer.
one I know.
And yeah, it's that it was during the scene when he is it when he comes out of the fridge?
It's when he's
Yeah,
in the
that's when he
claw,
breaks
like,
his arm.
It's after, yeah, and so he's like up in Eddie's face, and he's like
Slobbering.
slobbering all over him, and screaming and yelling and all that, and Eddie is like freaking out. He's like sobbing. He's like gagging and stuff and all
He's
that.
such
And
a
like
good actor.
in that scene, like Bill talks about how while they were filming the scene, he's like obviously he's staying in character because both of them are professionals, and so he's like really like going at it, and then as soon as they call cut, he's like, oh my God, are you okay? And Jack is just like, I love what you're doing with the character. Awesome. It's great.
I'd fucking kick
a
that kid if I seen him.
13-year-old.
But I'm just like, what a little professional. Well, so yeah, and we'll get into this when we talk a little bit more about the cast, but like the kids are
Phenomenal.
incredible. Like not only just like really great
Better.
actors, but they've been like everyone who worked on the production, including like the
Better
directors,
than
like
the actual
all
adult
of the
actors.
like the director, the producers, the older actors, like the adults, they all talked about how professional the kids were, and like how like they've really never seen like kids that age like really take everything very seriously. And I'm like, aside from their acting skills, like that's just really awesome.
Another weird thing about Jack Dylan Grazer is, have any of you guys seen his fucking TikToks lately?
I'm afraid.
The-
to look
I don't
at-
have TikTok.
I'm
The
Right.
boy is going insane. He's like, like he starts talking like, I don't think anything he's saying is real. Like I don't think he's actually meaning what he says. But there's one TikTok. He's like, I was in an Irish market and there was a 3-year-old boy and he had a cigar and he said, you gotta get a trolley, and I was in the trolley, and then we're gonna get Madonna and we're gonna put her in a box. It's gonna be so funny because she's not gonna know what to do with the carrots. And it's like, what? What?
Me and Kate have like been into it since like the It fandom high days. So we
Oh.
watched Jack Dylan Grazer's descent into madness.
When he got in trouble for
Smoking weed.
That was kind of
I
funny.
love him so much. Okay, so we'll get into that.
Oh,
So let's go ahead and get into our discussion, because those are all my fun facts. I did read quite a lot about both the production of both movies, and so like there's quite a lot of information that I got, but overall those are my general fun facts. So we'll go ahead and start getting into production. Yes, Sinead is raising her hand.
No, sorry, I was picking John's nose.
oh.
I thought you were like raising your hand like, I want to start. Do you want to start though?
Oh yeah, I can start. I love this movie so much. I've seen it 3
Yes.
times in cinema. Like the first, we're starting with the story. Like I love it so much. What I love about it, it gives you like a nostalgic vibes, but not just because it's set like in the 80s. It's because of like their
Yeah.
friendship. It's like I got like a lot
Yeah.
of Stand By Me vibes.
Yes.
So it's like kids on adventure, but there is like still a sinister tone. Like for Stand By Me, someone goes missing and they're potentially dead, and they like, find a dead body. For this,
Much
there's
like
another
in
kind.
It.
And I thought I would hate the kids. Like, generally, kids in movies, I hate them. Like, I can't
Fuck
tell you
these
why.
kids.
I absolutely hate them. And even, like, in the... What was it? In the TV movies, I kind of was like... I'm
Seth
not really
Green!
Oh,
Don't
yeah, I
talk.
wouldn't beat
Oh,
Seth
Kate
Green,
hasn't
though.
been here for all my
Eddie
Seth Green.
Spaghetti. I love him in the fucking thing. He's so
Well,
cute.
The way they done it in this film with like with their dialogue was very realistic, and it just like gave you a sense of like, oh my god, I was like that with my friends, you know, that kind of way. So I thought
Yeah.
that was really nice for the get go. How the
I
story
too measure dicks with my friends.
All the time. No, but it's exactly that though, because I feel like, because none of us grew up in the 80s.
Yeah.
But like,
Wait, Cassie, you did.
No,
Yeah,
I
I was
said
like-
yeah,
I
as in
was
we
like-
haven't.
like,
I'm
Assholes! I grew up in the 90s.
but like,
I'm not
we
that
didn't-
old.
We didn't grow up in the 80s, but like, I think we're all like when me and Jess seen it, we were scared at how much we like were like these kids. Like we could like sit down and be like, and this was like Bill, and she was like Stan, and she was like Ben. Like we had like a group of friends like that who could all ride bikes except me. But you know, fuck
Don't
you
worry,
guys.
babe. I can't ride a bike either.
Yeah.
I can't ride
I
So-
can't wait to edit a picture of me riding a bike and you all in my sidecar. So you always look like I'm riding a bike.
Well, so
Oh.
I think that's a really good point, because I mean, that's one of the reasons that I really love this film and just this story in general, is because of the fact that, like, especially nowadays, horror films, it's really hard to kind of
Do
Yeah,
a good
land,
characters.
yeah, make a
Make
make
it
a
good.
quality one. Because the problem is that, like, you know, I mean, a horror genre is an interesting genre because there's so many different types of horror.
Of horror.
You know, there's like psychological
hardest.
thrillers. There's and I think the problem with it is that it's really
So many.
difficult, and it's really difficult to make a really solid, like, quality story. It's easy to make a horror film in general, like, you know, just throw something out on the screen when you're not expecting it. Lots of dark, lots of
Someone's
creepy,
crying, someone's
yeah,
screaming.
you know, like kill
Sarah
the
Paulson.
slutty girl first, like that kind
Yeah.
of bullshit. It's very easy to follow like a typical horror movie genre, and you know, so it's easy to make a horror film that people enjoy. But what's difficult is to make a horror film that is truly like a good
Enjoyable.
film, a really
It's
good
hard-
story.
It's hard to make it realistic in a way, like with
Yeah.
dialogue for horror, for character development, for everything to be realistic in their world, for us to believe in it.
Exactly, and to make it mean something to the audience, because the problem I think with a
Yes.
lot of it is because you're watching the horror film to be scared. You're not watching the horror film because you are
You want to
connecting with the
feel
characters.
emotions.
Exactly. Well, and it's like in a lot of
Wow.
like horror films nowadays, like you don't connect with the characters. You don't really kind of
Yeah.
vibe with them. You don't care really about the characters. You just kind of like get scared, and that's kind of all that it is comes with horror. And that's why I think that, because Stephen King really, you know, was groundbreaking in the fact that he really made stories that meant something, that had a lot of quality and a lot of development in them, that you know, weren't just scary. Because basically this is a horror film, sure, but what's great about this film and Stephen King's like film or stories in general is the fact that they're really more about the characters, the character developments, the narratives of those characters, and not just the scary parts.
Right. What I was going to say is, for horror, like especially nowadays, it's pet peeve where they don't make the characters, one, developed or likable or kind of realistic in any way.
Yeah.
Because it's, why are you watching the film?
No. To watch
this-
someone die.
I just can't like vibe with that. That's not my thing. But I do like American Werewolf in London. They have very likable characters, and like they're joking around, like they're.
Very that.
So I do really like this movie for that reason. Where, for horror, I feel like you kind of can write it like a drama. It's similar, or like a comedy, like. No, the comedy's a bit, but like a drama, you need to have proper likable characters, realistic in a way they're speaking. And that's not doing, like, I'll go on a spiel of, like, really bad horror movies. They just don't do that.
Well, yeah, but that's the kind of point, is that, like, this wasn't even just about the horror. Like, yeah, the big characters,
What they started
Pennywise,
off
but
with the horror, like they maybe when we're making it, it seems like they were more focused. Maybe like this has to be a horror movie, but then the friendship story, I didn't really care about the horror. I was more like, oh my god, these characters, fuck Pennywise.
How are they gonna
Yeah,
take
and
the
that's a good
woods?
point because
Like-
also when, like, if you read about the production of the two small mini movies that they made in the 90s, there was a lot of skepticism about whether it would be successful because at the time, like, you know,
they couldn't show blood.
just putting horror up on
They showed a little bit.
television just wasn't seen as a successful endeavor.
No.
Yeah.
And so what they ended up doing, especially when they were like going into writing the script and trying to develop it and adapt it for the screen, a lot of the things that they did was try and, like, you know, obviously they did the whole story of Pennywise and like kept all of the horror in it, but they like really tried to focus in on the relationships and made it a story about friendship rather than just, you know, kids being scared by Pennywise and that whole story. Because that's interesting in itself, but the reason that they did that was because they felt that would probably, like, you know, just
Work better.
like, yeah, it would land better with audiences at the time.
And
it did. Yeah.
Story-wise, loving it.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Very
She
good.
is the moment.
She is the moment. But, like,
Derry is the moment.
it's just, like, all of it is just amazing. Because, like, it's, like, even, like, there's just, like, it is scary. That's the thing, but, like, it's, like, the characters nailed it. But it is scary. Because even, like, the scene, like, there's so many standout scenes, like, Bev in the bathroom.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and
Am I
it's so-
just like cold? Am I just like desensitized to scary movies? I was just like,
You're like,
Well, I think what it was is that's what made this one so much more enjoyable to watch for me than other kinds of horror films. Because, yeah, horror films are fun to watch, but you kind of have to be in the mood. You have to have, like, the setting. You know, I, like, one of my favorite things to do is to go to my family's cabin in Ruidoso where it gets pitch black and, like, watch scary movies with friends at night on the big screen because it's, like,
scary.
it's a vibe, you know? Like, it's the atmosphere and stuff. But what's great about this one is that it's a movie first. Like, it's not like a horror experience. It's about the story. And so that's, I think that's what's nice about this one is that even if you're not really interested in horror films, I would still recommend watching it. To my mother, by the way, because my mom was like, well, I'm probably not going to watch these films for your podcast.
Miss
And I
Egger.
was like, Mom, watch these movies. You don't have to watch the one we're going to talk about later, but you got to watch these.
Miss
No,
Egger,
watch
if you're
all of them.
listening. Yeah, watch all of them. Watch everything we talk about in this episode because they're all phenomenal.
In their own ways.
In their own ways.
can we talk about? I just have like a little like one-liners for each kid of what I think about them.
Amazing. Go for
Yeah.
it. Go
Richie's
for
a
it.
smart arse, but in the best way.
My favorite.
And my
Fair
favorite thing
enough.
that he does is just he's in the background fucking with someone playing the trumpet.
Trombone.
I missed that the first time we seen it, and Jess was like, "Look at her playing the trumpet! Look at her playing the trumpet!" I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
In the
"What?"
background, the guy,
While
the
they're
guy
having, like, a serious moment, too, and
that's
Richie's
what
in the
I was
fucking
watching,
background being, like, you know,
No,
a
but you
fucking
can hear
idiot.
in the background the guy who took the trumpet off would be like, "Fuck's sake," and taking it
Yeah.
off of him.
And he's like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Yes, that.
It's just like, it's so hot. That whole scene of all of them being like, oh my god, and Pennywise is gonna kill us. And Richie's in the background like, brr, 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 brr. And then Eddie comes along like, I got ice cream. What the fuck is up? Like,
It's like, do you remember that
That was
Beyonce
like
fucking
one of my
meme?
favorite.
No, what do you mean?
what Beyonce?
Just Beyonce meme, and it's like, boom, 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 boom.
No.
That's really-
Okay.
I
So
said
anyway.
Eddie is baby, and I relate to him when he's panicking about every like hygiene reason. And like,
Oh,
this
he'd
thing,
do
but
so
I love
good in
his
2020.
character
Because that's
development.
that's a real type of anxiety.
He's not catching Rona any fucking time soon.
No, sir.
Imagine if it took place in 2020.
But also, like, I thought his character was well written with character development wise
Mm-hmm.
from
was
like the
acted
beginning,
beautifully,
and then so I really like that. And then I said Stan is 100% done with everything, which is fair enough. Like, I don't blame Stan for being like, all right,
Everyone
I'll
has
put it
friends
out.
like that.
Yeah. He's
so
winning his rights.
is a soft boy
Who?
king. Sorry,
Ben.
is a soft-
Yes, I love him.
Ben is a soft boy king, and I was literally will die for him. Bev is a bro girl. There's no
Oh, yeah,
doubt
she
about
is.
it.
But in a good
And
way.
Mike just deserved better.
She drinks
They done him so
Monster.
dirty. She
Oh.
drinks. She listens to 100 gex.
She does geck. She does geck.
She does
While
get
your hair is winter fire, stupid horse in the Porsche. Feels like amazing.
But like, oh, then Bill, I just said, okay.
I think the actor did an incredible job.
though. He
but the
did.
character
If
is
that
like,
was any other child, like any other child actor, I'd be like, fuck this.
If I was one of
Well, yeah,
his friends, I'd
because
fucking knock him out.
acting out a stutter is really difficult to do in like a believable way, because
And
it is
he's
a very like
good.
specific type of like literal like physically like mental like
Astrological.
disability. No, but you know what I mean.
You
Like,
just can't
it's
say
a, like
different words.
it doesn't really make sense to people who don't experience it for the most part. Like when you hear someone stuttering and stuff, it's just like in your own head, you're just kind of like, just say it, you know. But it's like it's not. Yeah, it's not like a nervous tick or anything. It's genuinely just like it's like an actual physical reaction and all that. And so it's really difficult to do that believably in films. And it's very like there's so many films where people do that and it doesn't
Silly.
look good. And I think that Jaden did such a good job with it,
He
which
did.
is
As
why
a
I'm so impressed by the fact that he did so
13-year-old?
much research to make sure that he could do it well.
Because, like, imagine being 13 or, like, you need to stutter. And he's like, I'm going to listen to the King's speech. What 13-year-old does that? A professional.
It's really
There we
good.
go.
I thought he did it really well.
Did anybody, can I just ask opinion of the group? Did anybody else want to duck Georgie? I wanted to duck him.
Dr.
I don't
Georgie.
know.
You wanted to punch Georgie?
You wanted to
What?
deck? Is that what you meant? Deck?
Deck,
Georgie?
yeah.
Deck?
I
was like,
like,
did you want to
Jock?
leak his address?
No, he was cute. Like
Georgie's
Georgie.
like, no, everyone knows.
Oh no, I remember like being in the cinema and I remember I
told
didn't
you, I
like
hate kids.
I didn't like scary movies before I saw it. Me and Kate went and I was like at the start I was like, fuck this kid. He's small, he's cute, he's gonna die. And then he died and I turned to Kate and I was like, I feel sick, I need to leave the
You
cinema.
were such a fucking sorry, like this is like you were a pussy. Like we literally we went to see it for my friend's birthday, okay? Like we went to a group of friends. I'm not friends with half that group anymore. But we went and we were watching it and Jess was like, I'm not even afraid of this. Then Georgie got his arm ripped off and she's like, I gotta go. And she left for like
Jess, stop.
What the fuck?
Stop.
I
No.
came back.
You know it's
She
not
missed the
real. It's not
intro.
real.
That's rude.
She
I
missed
need
the-
to pee.
I
She
hate
missed
it when
the
people
intro
leave the
for
theater.
fucking. Do you know like when you
I'm
first meet the losers?
sorry.
Yeah.
Do you know when you meet the four main
Yeah.
ones? Jess missed that. I was like, oh, this
that
is
was
funny as
so.
fuck.
That was such a good scene.
Guys,
And then
I've
she'd
watched
come
it like
back.
10 times since I saw it.
But then you'd come back and you'd be like, okay, I'm not scared. And something happened. And she's like, don't touch me! Don't touch me! And I'm like, okay, what the fuck? Like,
I think I'm the only person that was ever scared of it.
Wait, were you scared of the bullies, Jess?
Yes!
I was scared of everyone who
No,
wasn't
I'm sorry.
Pennywise.
I put down in my notes. I said, it looks like those bullies. I could beat them up.
Well, they were
I've
annoying.
said that. I felt like I
Not
could beat
Patrick
them up.
Cockstar.
Well, so
I could be
since Sinead kind of started the discussion about the characters and stuff, I do.
Oh my
You
god.
do. Oh, sound
Do I- have we
bites.
got
I
two?
have, yes. I don't have that many.
Soundbite.
I don't actually have that many today. It's a little bit of a long. It's kind of like how in last episode I had a bunch of like really long
Austin
supersets
Powers.
for Austin Powers. But
Do y'all remember that one?
I did make a compilation of just like as many. I mean, granted, these are all my favorites. I know that there's a couple more, but
Don't
these,
worry, we can.
in my personal opinion, these were like this is a compilation of like the best like dialogue and interactions between
Ready,
and just
if you will.
within Eddie and Richie.
Ready
Amazing.
Nation, make some noise.
Woo!
Woo!
So, are you serious?
Doesn't smell like caca to me, senor.
Okay, I can smell that from here. It's probably just your breath wafting back into your face.
Or the woman I keep seeing.
She hot?
No,
No,
Richie.
Richie! She's not hot!
She's not hot.
Gary started as a beaver trapping camp. Still is, am I right, boys? I'm gonna snap her under the Do not fucking touch me! Okay, do not touch me! Don't fucking touch me! Go blow your dad, you mullet-wearing asshole! Just suck the wound. I need to focus right now. You need to focus? Yeah, can you go get me something? Jesus Christ. Oh, what do you need? Go get my bifocals. I hit him in my second fanny pack.
Why do you have two fanny packs?
Well, I need to focus right now.
Why you have two
Now,
fanny packs?
Pip and Telio, my good fellows! I do believe this trap requires our utmost attention. Get in there, Dr. K. Come on, fix him up. Why don't you shut the fuck up, Einstein? Because I know what I'm doing, and I don't want you doing the British guy with me right now.
Wound. Get in there.
I love that.
You know what these are? They're gazebos! They're bullshit! They're bullshit!
Wow. You two look amazing. What the fuck happened to me? So wait, Eddie, you got married?
Yo, why is it so fucking funny, dickwad?
What, to like a woman?
Fuck you, bro.
Fuck you!
No.
Oh, you know I got married?
No.
Yeah, no, me and your mom are very, very happy right now. You're like, you're hot.
That's true.
No, you're like every Brazilian soccer player wrapped up into one person. Gorgeous.
You should cut that fucking mullet. It's been like 30 years, man.
Bowers is in my room. Is it bad?
He's not fucking with us. Let's go, not scary at all.
Okay. Oh, shit. No way am I falling for this shit again.
Oh, yeah, that thing's a fucking monster.
Richie, make it sit. I know your moves, you little bitch. Sit. He did it.
Oh, that's cute.
That's a good boy.
It's actually super cute.
That's a good boy.
Hey, baby. Good boy.
That was it.
Beautiful.
But yeah, I mean,
Bowers is in my room.
That was my favorite line.
He's so face when he says it.
I like honestly though, Richie is the comedy king. Like I love
No, he
Richie.
is.
He's
But
so
you
much.
can't tell me you would not be annoyed if Richie was in your friend group.
Oh my god, no,
Yes.
I am going. No, I was gonna say like I feel like I would like no, I
You'd
love
be
Richie.
Stan.
I would
No, let's
1
be honest,
million
we would all
%.
turn into Stan at one point and try to strangle him.
no. I
but-
love that bullshit.
That's how Jess grew up, because I wouldn't shut the fuck up as a kid. Like, I wouldn't shut the fuck up. I did voices. They weren't good, but I did them. And I do them all the time. And it was always Jess that I'd annoy the fuck out of. Always Jess. She'd do something slightly off, and I wouldn't stop talking about it. I don't know how I'm alive today, because I don't know how she didn't kill me. Because then when we seen this movie, I was like, fuck, that's what I sounded like, wasn't it? I'm annoying as fuck.
No, I love Richie.
No, I love it, but you can't lie at one point.
No.
And then
Yeah.
honestly, I think my favorite actor of all of them,
Who?
like Jack Dylan
Who
Grazer.
is it?
Yeah.
I thought
Amazing.
The
I
little,
think we all
the
were gonna
little
say
kid.
something.
I mean, I know that we kind of talked about it earlier, but
No,
like
stop.
Jack is the fucking best. Like Eddie was
No, stop.
acted beautifully.
I thought you were going to literally say Jess. I was like, Jess was not in it just because she looks like Finn Wolfhard. She was not in the movie.
I don't feel open anymore.
Why does
Oh
Jess
my
look
God.
like every like a character in every movie we review?
Every sickly
I
Victorian
do.
person.
It's got one of those faces, guys.
Anyway,
No, this is the thing about it. It's like the kids, because I'm almost certain a good amount of it was like improv of just the kids being
Oh, yeah, it
friends
was.
and like turning around being like,
most of the background dialogue,
Blah, blah,
which by the
blah.
way, yeah, all the background dialogue was like first class, like A1 dialogue. It was ad-libbed by the kids.
like, because that's what made it not scary.
I
That
did actually hear that that
What?
Eddie's line when he says they're gazebos, that's bullshit. I heard
Yeah.
that was an ad-libbed line.
Yeah, it was.
Icon, legend, Jack
Oh,
Dylan Grazer.
he is
smart
the
as
moment.
fuck.
He can give you
is-
Paris
Absolutely
Hilton,
love
He
it.
can give you Janet.
I just fucking
Well-
know. Honestly, Eddie's mom is a piece of shit though.
Oh, fuck
She
Sonia.
creeped me out. No, she creeped
She
me
was
out.
gross.
so scary. She's terrifying. All
I
the
will
parents
say-
in this movie are so scary.
All the adults
Yeah.
in this movie are like
The
literal
Lois
like
Lane
trash.
line? I'm sorry.
They are literal trash.
pharmacist?
Yeah, okay, wait. I had a note
Oh.
about that. Okay, so yeah, that was disgusting. That was so gross. But like low-key, Bev looked dope in those glasses. Like that that was a look. Yeah, she should have just kept
Yeah.
them.
If you're gonna
Sophia
steal,
Lillis can rock any look. She's so
Sorry,
cool.
Cassie, were you saying he was right to give her that weird compliment?
No, I was saying that like
did
she
look
looked
like Lois
great.
Lane.
I didn't say she looked like Lois Lane. I said she looked great.
Lois Lane didn't even wear fucking
it
glasses.
turns
He's
into like
stupid.
Queer Eye. He like turns around and he's like, "You're surfing, Bev. You're surfing."
Can you believe?
The Fab Five are like, they turn around like they've been in disguise in the fucking like pharmacist. Like, hi Bev, your friend sent us to give you a makeover.
We
Oh my
heard
God.
you just got your first period.
Now that we're on the topic though, let's talk a little bit about Bev and her story.
Fuck. Oh my god.
So I think it was done really well in the first one. Just because I think they didn't linger too long on it, because obviously her story is the most like Because, like, you know, Bill's is the most
Realistic.
personal, but hers is kind of the most, like, triggering and, like, quite like, it's a very serious.
Traumatic.
Upsetting.
Yeah, it's a very upsetting, traumatic type of story. And
it's also, like,
I think
it, like, grounds it in reality, because all these kids are like, Georgie got eaten by a clown, and Bev's like, I'm dealing with
Sexual abuse.
literal sexual abuse. But, like, what's interesting, what I thought that they did really well with it is because, yeah, they didn't linger too much on it. They kind of just hinted at it to let you know that that was what was happening, and so that you were aware of it and were kind of, like, conscious of what was happening with Bev. And, like, a lot of her, like, you know, the things that Pennywise does to scare her, like, make more sense, and they're a lot more, like, affecting. Because, like, yeah, obviously, like, a bathroom, like, sink exploding in blood, that would be scary to anyone. But it, like, symbolizes her, like, horror at becoming, like, a woman. Quote unquote,
I have a question about
because that would, like, put her in a bad situation with her father.
Is that blood supposed to be menstrual blood?
I don't know that it was, like, legitimately, like, literally supposed to be menstrual blood, but, like, I think it was obviously supposed to, like, represent
it.
it was supposed to represent her, like, her being scared of actually getting her period, becoming a woman, and being, like, a sexual object to her own father. But yeah, speaking of which, that scene actually, one thing I wrote down in my notes just while I was watching, and it was like, that bathroom scene, like, genuinely reminded me of the scene in Nightmare on Elm Street when Johnny Depp gets, like, pulled in through the mattress and then it just explodes in blood.
Yeah.
Right? So a couple of other notes that I'm, okay. So, I think pubescent boys in movies are always hilarious.
Yeah.
They always have something funny going on.
Well, it's because, like, you know, in the scene where, like, Bev is, like, lying out on the cliffs and stuff, and they're, like, just staring at her, and it's that moment where you see all the boys staring at her, and then obviously, like, I liked that cut, the way they were, like, looking at the boys, and they're all just, like deadpan face, like, just staring, like, in awe. And then you see that they're just looking at her, like, lying out in the sun, which I thought was great. Because I think, and on that note, too, so first of all, pubescent boys are hilarious in movies because it's just, like,
they're just
interesting.
They're so
Because also, yeah.
The soundtrack is sick, by the way. Bust a Move is playing in the background of that.
And how
So
they
good.
all are always making jokes about, like, their dick length.
I think the first kill, as in Georgie's kill, is the best kill in the movie. And, okay, I will say this, okay? Going in to watch it, I wanted to be, like, disgusted. I wanted to walk out and be like, some things were done to some people that I will never talk about. Like, for example, Patrick in the movie, Patrick Hogstar, he's the one that gets eaten by the zombies with his little flamethrower. He's just like a bully in this movie. Like, and in the second movie, they make him a bit dumb and like a silly joke.
Yeah.
But in the book, he's like this like sociopath that feels nothing. He killed his little brother. He keeps a refrigerator of like dead animal parts in it. And he rapes Henry Bowers many times.
Well, and actually,
Bev sees that.
I thought that was kind of a, like, that's a good point too, because for a person that has actually never read it, I mean, obviously I knew the story and everything, but I never read it specifically, and so I didn't get the finer details of it. Henry was, like, straight up psycho. And I was, like, I put it in my notes, like, why is Henry a fucking psycho? Because, like, bullies are bullies, sure, but, like, you know, you don't see, like, a regular, everyday school bully cutting his fucking name into a kid's stomach with a knife. Like, that's, like, next level. And so I was just really, like, it didn't make sense for Henry to be that level of, like, you know, psycho, in my opinion, personally. I think it was just the problem. It wasn't successfully or adequately, like, conveyed to the audience exactly what was going on with Henry. And I think that was, like, not necessarily, like, because I think that the movie was still absolutely spectacular, and I think the story itself holds up. Like, it didn't ruin anything, but it was kind of a question. It was kind of a plot hole, like an abandoned storyline a little bit, because they didn't completely abandon it, but it was a little bit, I was just kind of like, I needed a little bit more explanation on that, and I think from what you get in the book, I know that you get a lot more, and it's very understandable exactly why Henry's like that, and the kind of, you know, especially, like, when he's driving by and telling Mike, like, get the fuck out of my town.
That's because he's racist.
But see,
he's very racist.
He's very racist. Even in the TV series, they're very.
But yeah, see, that's the thing, though. It wasn't really, like, conveyed very well. you know, I give it to them too because they do obviously have the limitations of making a movie that flows well. Like, you're not dwelling too long on certain things, because I feel like that was also quite a problem in the second one as well, is that they dragged too much on establishing like certain plot points and stuff. And I think that they did well in the first one by, like, aside from my qualms with the whole Henry plot line, I think with all the kids, the main characters, I think they did well with, like, establishing the problems that they were having without dragging it out. Like, you understood fully exactly what their individual, like, issues were.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
but it didn't linger too long on it, and I thought that was really well done, because I think that that's a problem in movies, is that once you understand, you want to move on. You don't want to just be told over and over and over. Like, you know, some things need to be reinforced, but for the most part, once you get it, you don't want to be told again. And so I think that was done really well in the film.
Richie, they dropped the fucking ball. Because it's Richie, what are you afraid of, Richie? I'm afraid of clowns. It's like, the fucking clown movie. It's the
scary clown
movie.
Like,
no, but I'm so angry because in the book,
he's afraid of werewolves.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that was sick.
Yeah, but a werewolf would fit in so much better with Richie's, like, story, what they do in the second one, because, I mean, like, I know we're going to get into the second one, but we find out that he's gay and he's closeted. And, like, you know, turning into something at night.
The transformation type of thing, or, like, becoming your true self.
Blown.
Like, it transforming into something.
Would have been great.
I just wanted that. And, like, say even with, like, I'm just going to use Patrick Stewart because it's the only one I can remember right now. When Patrick gets killed, right, literally all we see is, like, the balloon doing this, and then it pops,
and then
it's your one, and then it's a scream. I wanted to see this boy die. I wanted to see...
You wanted to see child murder!
It's a horror movie. I wanted to see this boy get, like, his fucking body torn in half. I wanted... Like, Cary Fukunaga in his script has a kid's back being broken and stuffed into a toilet. I wanted to see fucked up shit.
So,
not even with kids. With
but is that just, like, a personal preference where you're just like, that would have been cool? Or did that, like, actually take away from the film itself for you?
I think it did, because this is a Stephen King movie. Like,
Fair.
You know what I mean? I love how Bev's written. Sorry. I do
too. I think she's a solid character.
It is so easy to, like, because every other mate, like, I was trying to think, I was like, she's my favorite girl in the movie, and I was like, what other girls there in the movie? There's the bully, there's the crazy mom, and there's Bill's mom at the piano. Like, I don't know, and the painted lady. But it's so easy to have, like, you know, a group of boys and then just, like, and it's a girl. Like, a lot of shows do that, a lot of movies do that.
Just to have, like, the girl, but but she's actually, she holds her own. She's a solid, independent character, like, away from the boys. Like, if you just had a movie about Bev, you'd still like it.
And it could have... And it could have been because of Sophia Lillis. I think she's a phenomenal actress.
She's wonderful.
Yeah, and it's like she just teaches them like
how to be themselves.
Well, how to be like confident.
And another thing as well, I think Jeremy Ray Taylor deserves more credit. He played Ben.
He pushes
that shot.
Command.
That shot where she's signing his,
like here.
his book, and like it's literally just his eyes like that. And he's just looking at her like she just fucking gave him sunshine. Like, it is...
He's such a cute kid.
They have great... I actually liked his scare scene.
Oh my god, I was actually going to say, because literally, out of all of the scary scenes and all the scary things, that headless fucking kid was by far the worst. Like, I was watching that, and I straight up, like, I almost had to, like, wait until it was over to look back at the screen, because that was... Straight up, like, I was like, I'm about to start crying.
I didn't think
out of fear?
Yes, that was horrible.
I didn't think it was the kid that was scary. It's I thought one thing the movie did do really well is the background stuff. Because that librarian.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I found scary now.
And she's like
she's rude
staring.
As hell.
Yeah.
No, can I
and
talk
the
about
whole
her? She's rude
flipping the
like
pages
flipping
and
through
stuff.
the book, and you're like, and it gets louder,
Yeah,
and it's just that was scary.
But yeah, okay, so let's actually go ahead and, unless anyone has any big points about the first one still, I want to go ahead and move us on to talking about...
Shit, crap, or poo.
No, do you want to get the pun that I had for it? What was it?
What was your
It
pun?
chapter 2, more like It chapter too long.
It was so
fucking
long.
long.
Like that, and that's what I was saying about earlier about how I think in the first one they did really well about kind of just like gently like suggesting and implying all the things that were the issues for each kid, and then moving on once you understood. Here they were just like, all right, so let's go all over the place and keep on going back to this kid and going back to this kid and going back to this time.
Here's
like,
a flashback. Here's a flash forward.
I fully stand by this. Okay, if Chapter 1 was made to be a scary movie, but everyone liked it because it was a funny coming-of-age movie. They then went to the second one.
But they've already come of age now.
No, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that was only funny because the kids just ad-libbed everything, and the kids were funny, and the kids by themselves, without the script or the story, were great. And then the second one came along, and they're like, everyone liked the first movie because it was a silly coming of age
and
movie.
Now this one's purely about like the emotion and like the scary, and
because they try to take everything that everyone liked from the first movie and make it into the second one,
which you should never try and do that because it's not going to work when it's intentional. But
it was really forced.
So, and not to say that the cast was bad, because
the cast was the best part of the movie.
I think it was just that in the first movie, like, you like the first movie mainly, like, the biggest part of the first movie that is beloved, I think, is because of the fact that it's the kids, both the actors and the characters themselves. And also, I think what's difficult to do in a horror movie with adults is to make it seem realistic that the adults would take things seriously. And with the kids, it's obvious, like, you know, because kids have active imaginations and stuff. So I think that also kind of played into it a little bit. But, like, in general, like, yeah, the cast in this one wasn't bad. It was more the writing, and it was really the writing. We'll get into that in a second. But it was the writing and the way they kind of just, like Sinead was saying, it's the tone. It's the way they portrayed everything, you know?
Like the way Jess said, like, because of the success of the first one, you can really see that they were told, make it funny. And you can feel the forcedness of, like, the scenes dragged on because they gave these actors time to ad-lib and, like, improv. Where, like, they didn't need to improv or ad-lib, and I can tell where
to be honest, probably most of their ad-libbing was better than the fucking
The
script.
Angel of the Morning part was so annoying.
Okay, wait. I'm not mad about it, though. Because,
no, but it dragged.
Because it's... Okay, no, yeah, it did drag. But in general, my comment on that is that it's reminiscent of, like older comedy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, but, like, imagine,
you know,
right?
and so I'm not mad about it.
Imagine you're watching a Friday the 13th movie, right? And Jason's just about to slash someone, right? And when he puts it in, it's like, every night in my dreams. Like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
But like, still, I think the reason that I wasn't mad about it was because it was reminiscent of old comedy. Like, I know that specific, like, that song as well is used specifically for that joke.
I feel genuinely realistically, you sit through 2 hours of a movie dragging and nothing happens, and they make one joke that's slightly funny, and you're like, wow. Amazing! Because I watched it the first time and I was like, that was funny. That was good. That was funny. Because I had watched 2 hours of nothing.
Apparently that part is fun to watch. My friend went to see it in 4D. It came out in, like, it released in 4D, I think.
The fuck?
Ew.
Yeah.
Like Shrek?
Yeah, it
Oh my
released.
god, I watched Shrek 4D and that was amazing.
But, it's like, but he was talking to me about it, and he's like, oh yeah, there's part goes before you even see in chapter 2, and he's like, yeah, there's part when, like, the leopard throws up in Eddie's face and you can, like, smell it. And I'm like, maybe they, like, knew there was a 4D release and they were like, we're gonna do something interactive. Like, maybe that's what they're doing.
Speaking of the characters, though, let's talk a little bit, because I know that we gotta talk about Bev.
Oh.
So, okay, I have a lot to say about her as well. Because, so, I mean, for those who watch the movies and obviously prefer the first one to the second one, which I'm just going to generally state that that's probably almost everyone.
And if you don't, you're wrong.
But yeah, it's just, Bev is too soft.
Mm-hmm.
She, like, you know, in the first one, she, like we were talking about, she's this really standalone character. Like, if you had a movie about Bev in the first movie, like the first movie's Bev, it would be a great movie. She'd be a great single standalone protagonist. And in this one, she really feels like a supporting character. She really feels like no one cares. You know, and it's just, I don't know, she just seemed very, like, breathy and cutesy and, like, you know, too like submissive and small.
I'm looking at a different point of view. I can understand, like, from what she's gone through, and from this is about just people not dealing with trauma. And how people change because of trauma.
Yeah.
So I was kind of getting it from that. Yeah, from someone who loves her character, it's kind of like, this is dead ass annoying. They diluted her character. But then I'm like, is this because of the trauma? And she's with abusive partner. Would this somehow manifested and change her as a person, as character? And then that's when she kind of got over it, and near the end, that's how she kind of gets a little bit more badass. That's how I saw it, and I can understand where you're coming from, but that's how I saw it.
Fair, no, and that's fair, but it's just, I think it was more, and I get what you're saying. I think it's just the undertone of Bev's character. You should still feel the same kid, because with all of the others, Eddie, Richie, like, you all still they feel like the same person. They may be changed and different, but they feel the same. Like, their undertone of who they are is still the same. Whereas Bev just doesn't, it's a completely different person.
But, like, if there was, like, I wish there was at least, like, a part with Bev where, like, because there is a scene, and I keep forgetting what actually happens in it when I'm watching it. But it's like when Ben turns around, and, like, he turns around to Bev, and he's like, okay, what are you not telling me? And he's referring to the fact that Bev's seen, like, them all die in her, like, head. But I keep thinking it's going to be like, what are you not telling me? You literally have fucking bruises on your arm and no one's saying shit about it. Like, I thought that's how it was going to be. And she's like, yeah, I'm not happy. And then that's how, in the end, they get together. And that's when Ben's like, oh, fuck this guy.
It's like they don't care about Bev's character at all. They were just kind of like, yeah, that's Bev. Okay, moving on. Now the boys are the ones that are important.
If you just use an abusive relationship for a scare, which, yeah, it can be very scary, and it's a Stephen King book and he uses realistic stuff, so go ahead, make it a scare. But then if you don't bring it up again, it just seems like a cheap thing for shock factor. Like, you know, like when I was saying about, like, I kind of wish they brought in the whole, or not wish, but, like, it would have been effective if they brought in Patrick's abuse with Henry. Like, that would have been shocking and awful to watch, but also it would explain why Henry's like that. Same with this. Like,
yeah, is they really just, they didn't go
Bev's abuse again.
See, yeah, and I think this is interesting because, like I was saying earlier, it's like the way they did it in the first movie where they, like, make you understand and then move on. They kind of did that to a too simple degree in this sense, because they were just like, oh, see, now she's abused. Okay, now, like, you know that, so, like, move on. But that's the problem. It's just that in the first movie, what they did was, like, they established their characters and then moved on and continued with the characters that they had established. In this one, they tried to just tell you what her character was and then been, like, trusted that that they told you and that you were just going to continue believing that, rather than reinforcing and, like, keeping, like, rather than kind of keeping with the character that they had established.
That's why it worked so well with Richie, because it's like, obviously Richie's fear
Richie's
is,
funny.
like,
Like,
but, like, in the first one, the fear is obviously, like, we don't have time to get into Richie. He's been here to be funny.
But, see, there's a lot of there's, like, a lot of problems with Richie's storyline, I feel. Because, like, one, they, like, if they wanted, like, I think it was definitely making it chapter 2, they decided to make him gay. I don't think they wanted to make him gay during it chapter 1.
Oh, no.
Because Andy Bruscetta kept saying it. He was like, no one's gay in this movie. Like, he said it a few times.
He was, like,
for no fucking reason.
Do you think they were a little bit queer baiting?
Yeah, 100%. Because let me tell you as well,
you
in the books, it's more hinted that Eddie is gay. I do think it was queer baiting. I don't think Andy Bruscetta bothered his whole I'm sorry, this is me popping off Andy Bruscetta, but I don't think he bothered his whole to actually, like, make a decent, like, gay storyline. It's like, obviously, before they confirmed that he's gay with the whole, like, the R plus E in the bridge scene, it's when he's sitting on the rock sobbing because to them his best friend is dead, but to him his first love and probably, as far as we know, his only love is dead. And Bev and Ben decide to have a smoochy session under the fucking water. Like, that's what this scene is about. A man just lost a person that he loves. If that was Bev, or if you know what I mean? If Bev had died, it would have been a whole thing with Ben.
Well, now that we're on the topic, because I kind of wanted to talk, like, obviously we should talk about the, like, big climax of the movie, which took forever to get to, and also was a really long climax. Stupid. So several things. I think, so, I think just in general, because the reason that I want to talk about this now is because when, they really didn't linger very much on Eddie's death scene. Because first of all, Eddie's my favorite character in the entire thing. Like, I loved Eddie in the first and in the second one. And it was just that they kind of did the bare minimum. It was like they did it and it was emotional, but they kind of cut it off.
There's a deleted scene. There's a take where they kiss Bill Hader
Allegedly.
and PJ on sound. Allegedly, there's a take where did Bill say it? I think Bill did.
I think it was PJ.
Or PJ. One of them said it.
So on the climax, though, one problem that I had with the climax because
way too many times.
The climax of the film.
End.
But one problem that I just had with it was just that it seemed kind of silly. You know, and I know that it's the whole idea, the whole idea of Pennywise himself, like, in order to break him down,
bully him.
But it seemed kind of silly. Like it seemed kind of like, I don't know. It didn't seem like they were really trying to make like this epic like moment, like this huge battle and very like tense, like on the edge of your seat waiting to see who's gonna live type moment. It just seemed kind of like, what? You know? I don't know.
Here's the thing: if they had swapped the like second, like this chapter 2 climax with the chapter 1 climax, amazing. Because I can imagine like a bunch of 13-year-olds being like,
"You're
fat
stupid,
clown, stupid clown,
you're a clown,
stupid bitch." But then like, a bunch of like a bunch of
and
adults
that's kind of what I'm saying is that also like I understand the like the challenge of making adults seem realistically scared and reacting this way to something that's so crazy
like
and fantastical.
wacky.
Yeah. Because it's difficult to do that, and I think that I understand the challenge there, but it was just, I don't know, it seemed kind of silly. It was also, oh my god, one thing that just started off the climax scene as silly was when they're like walking down there and one of them's just like, so this has been down here for like ever? And they're just like, not ever.
Just a few million years.
Who said that?
I think it was. But yeah, so like on that note, the script was horrible. The script was just, it was bad. It followed a good story, and that's credit to Stephen King. The script for this one was just not good. There was a lot of cliche lines. There was a lot of like really that's what, you know, like all of Bev's like romantic scenes with everyone were stupid. I didn't like the happy ending montage. I thought it was very like cliche.
Shafted.
Like I thought it was just kind of like, meh. I thought that the, like, Bev and Ben scene at the very end where he's just like, how'd you sleep? And she's like, great dream. And it's like, like, she doesn't have nightmares about them dying. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, that was so stupid. I don't know. The script was bad. I didn't like the script. Very few of their lines made an impact on me, you know? And the fact that so they state, this is like a specific like fun fact trivia stuff that they always state very often, is in the first movie, Pennywise, even though he's the main villain and like the face of the films, he only has 4 minutes of dialogue altogether in the entire film, in the entire 2-hour 15-minute film. And in this one, he only has 6 minutes of dialogue. And what's crazy is that like he has more dialogue in this one, or is it 9 minutes? I can't remember. It's 6 or 9 minutes. He has more dialogue in this one, and the dialogue that he has in the first one still, like, is more memorable.
It's more impactful.
It's just, the script was bad. There's not really much more to say than that. I think this is a good segue into production. So, I think my only things with production for both of them, mainly, were the cinematography. And there's a stark contrast between them, because I think the cinematography in the first one is gorgeous. It's beautiful. They have such like very smooth, like really good movement.
Very summery.
They have, yeah, exactly. And nostalgia. I think like they have really good shots, like single shots where you're just like, the composition of it is really good. And then like, you know how I will always bring up Dutch angles, because Twilight will always just be like triggering for me when we talk about Dutch angles.
We are in Fox.
But in this movie, that's the way you do Dutch angles. Like that's how, like that's the use that you have. It's to make people feel unsettled. Like in the scene when Bev is like looking down in the sink, there's a lot of like weird angles. It's never like a fully like level
straight
shot.
angle.
And it's because you're supposed to be feeling anxious and unsettled and upset. And that's how you use them. You don't just use them just because they look cool or just because it's quirky film. Anyway, I'm not going to go off on that. But so the cinematographer in the first one's name is Chung Chung-hoon. I think what he did really well, and he did really well, is that not only did he place Dutch angles in such a great place, but he also like cuts them in stark contrast, like a really great juxtaposition between a Dutch angle and like a Wes Anderson type like symmetrical shot. Like it's done really well because it's conveying exactly what the image is supposed to convey. I think the only other thing that I had for the first one was that just one specific shot or cut that I thought was really done really, really well is right after Bev's bathroom scene with the blood and all that, it immediately cuts to Bill asleep, and he had drawn a picture of Bev with her red hair and the water that like drops down onto the red, and then because it mixes with the red, like, you know, pencil or whatever, like the color, it looks like blood, and it's a really good use of imagery, and I thought that was really, really well done.
I loved the way it was like, I know like a lot of like 80s nostalgia is kind of a trend now with Stranger Things and other stuff like that, but I think this movie gave reference to the 80s without like being like, where's like my kitschy and like tubular trendy Walkman, homie? Like, you know, like, oh my god.
It wasn't kitschy and trendy. It was very just like, this is in the 80s. Like, yeah.
Like in Bill's room, I remember watching it, and it's like a Beetlejuice poster in the background, and he has a Gremlins poster, and then like, I know there's the whole thing with Ben, or with the, you know, with the boy, we're rough. Like, that's cute. Or like, I just love the music. There should have been more music on its soundtrack.
But the soundtrack that it did have was really good.
It was really good, but I wanted more of it, if I'm honest. Because like, it like they had Bust a Move when they're all sitting down and like trying to look away from Bev sunbathing, and Dear God by Ecstasy is that the band? When they're all separated and it's like, Dear God, like, and The Cure when they're cleaning Bev's
I love The
house.
Cure.
Oh my god.
There's a little bit of it in chapter 2. It's the scene when they're in the clubhouse. I just like its use of like 80s stuff without being like, Madonna's a material girl. Like, I didn't want, like, you know, like, I'm glad it was like subdued.
The one thing like I noticed with the second one, the cinematography quality went down, but the transitions went up by 100.
Really good transitions. They were all really smooth.
They just went up a bit too much. Nearly every scene there's like transition.
Yeah, it was a little heavy in the transition era.
Get, like, 13 Reasons Why level transition.
In the transitions, they did go a little heavy, but overall, so they did have a different cinematographer for the second film, and it wasn't bad necessarily. I'm not saying that the cinematography was bad. It was just very plain. It was very like average, and I think like you could tell the difference between when they were using shots from the old one to put in as flashbacks or memories or whatever. You could tell when they were using footage from the first movie rather than shooting new stuff. Yeah. Because it was clear, you could see the difference in the motion of the camera and all that. Two things that I actually didn't like about the transition, plus also the cinematography in the second one, though. One, the last transition where they're like looking at the like their reflection in the storefront window. I was like, oh, they're gonna look at themselves, and it's gonna be it's gonna be the kid versions. It's gonna be stupid, and then it was, and I was like, that was stupid. But okay, that was like that was just personal preference. But the one thing in the cinematography, like I said, it was quite average. It wasn't bad. It was just, you know, nothing special in the second one. The one that I really didn't like, and this is kind of like a recurring theme, especially with newer films with the technology that they have that's impervious to water or whatever. POV shots in water are just no. Because the problem is that it's impossible to get a POV shot in the water without water getting on the camera, like droplets. And that's not how you, like, water droplets aren't sitting on your eyeballs. Like, that doesn't happen. And so, I don't know. I don't like this. Because it happened also in The Hobbit, like, or in the second Hobbit, when they're traveling down the river in the barrels and there's a POV shot. It just looks off. And it's such in stark contrast to the normal type of cinematography. it's just it doesn't work because it's quite shaky as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it takes you out of it. And I didn't like that they did that in the first part, in the, you know, it's in the very beginning of chapter 2 when Adrian gets thrown into the water. And it was just upsetting. I didn't like it, and I was disappointed.
Whoever did the costume design, great. I think they did a great job. Bev serves looks, Richie serves looks. Everyone serves looks. Second one, but in the second one, they fucked, whoever did it just fucking must hate Bev, because, like, what the fuck? They got Richie's outfit spot on. Like, I liked Richie's outfit, and I thought it fit the movie very well. But, like, Bev owns a fashion firm, like a fashion company. And she threw on a white tank top, black leggings with a little rip in them, and a blazer. Girl. Like, get your fucking shit together.
Like, way to go, like, way to play it, like, really average and safe if you're a fashion designer.
I will take her firm off of her. Like, that is not okay. Yeah. Like, even, like, and then, like, for the rest, it was just, like, and all the rest of the boys wear plaid. Like, it's literally, like, I liked how Stan looks cute, though.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, like, I just... Glasses. Oh, you just looked so cozy. You could. I will say that you did definitely get a sense that, like, because the whole point is they all grew up to be famous, and you could so get the vibe that Stan didn't grow up to be famous, but he's very content with his life.
Yeah,
like he was so cozy, and like his wife's there on the like making.
They're going on a holiday.
Yeah, I don't want to think about it. I am traumatized from that.
Well, so does anyone have any other production notes? All right. Well, so let's rate it really quick, and then we'll take a quick break.
10 out of 10.
Wait, which movie?
Let's rate both of them separately.
Okay. 10 out of 10 for the first one. I say like a solid 7 for the second one. I'm not giving reasons.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm more kind of like an 8.5 out of 10 for the first one, because I like. Don't get me wrong. It's spectacularly done, but there's things that I'm kind of iffy about, which we have already discussed.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I think for the second one, probably more like a 5.5 out of 10, because as much as like it was fun to watch, it fell flat for me.
Yeah. I do an 8.5 for this first one, but I'd probably give the second one a 3. It's just kind of painful.
Fair.
I'm gonna go hard 10 on the first one. Hard 1 on the second one.
Oh my god!
Period.
Wow. You put a Bill Hader movie and you give it a 1.
PG and Bill are the only reason it only has ratings.
Oh my god.
Guys, I'm so sorry, Bill. I love you so much.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with NATO's Note of the Week and our segment topic. All right, and we're back, y'all.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry. Oh god, that was awful.
In keeping with our Halloween theme.
Yeah.
Jess, you want to bring us into
Oh yeah, my song. They're sexy and they're spooky.
Sinead's Note of the Week. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. All right.
Sinead,
what you got?
Hit us with your best note.
Right. Disclaimer, don't want to offend anybody, don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. Or comfortable.
We don't want you feeling comfortable.
So is Halloween. I picked someone who's in a lot of Halloween movies. Yeah. Or, is he in a lot of Halloween movies?
Oh, it's Adam Sandler.
Oh god.
Christopher Lee.
Oh, I love Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee. What's he in?
He's in Dracula. He's in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He's in Lord of the Rings. He's in so much. He's acting
in Star Wars. The new ones, though. The prequels.
Yeah. He's in so much.
I know.
But one fun fact about Christopher Lee that I just love, he was a Nazi hunter.
What?
That's why,
was he?
Yeah, he's called actually Sir Christopher Lee, but he got a medal for it, I'm pretty sure. After the war.
Interesting.
That's very interesting.
I had no idea.
But he's an iconic for Halloween time, Dracula.
Was he Dracula?
D. Dracula.
Yeah. He's also in The Mummy.
He died.
Yeah,
what?
Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died in, what was it, like 2014, 2015, something like that? 2015.
What the fuck?
He was old. He was like 90.
But another Halloween kind of movie. He's in Gremlins. He's one of the scientists.
Oh, in the second one. Yeah.
Gremlins New Batch.
Oh
Yeah, he's the one that wants to like take Gizmo and like
and experiment on him.
And Gizmo's not.
And they
having
done.
Other than like he's in so much that's pretty iconic, and he is fantastic at every single role that he's doing, no matter how ridiculous it is. I think he just like brings so much to the roles.
He's in so many scary movies.
Why did I think he was Superman? That's Christopher Reeve, isn't it?
Well, because one of the reasons that I really love Christopher Lee is he's just such a like foreboding, like intimidating, like, you know, strong person. Like he commands attention.
He's in The Wicker Man.
He walks into the room, you know Christopher Lee is in the room. Like his voice is so like deep. He's got this like really like just bassy, boomy voice, which is just like
yummy.
It's like chocolate. It's delightful.
He's in a lot of kind of B horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
If you, because a little fact about the B horror movies were really like installed in the 60s and 70s.
He's in like 50 versions of Dracula.
Yeah,
because he is Dracula.
He was in Sleepy Hollow as well.
He's in The Wicker Man, which is another iconic horror.
But yeah, no, that's a solid choice because I like Christopher Lee is just.
Bride.
Who is he in The Corpse Bride?
He's the
dad.
priest.
Yeah.
He's the priest.
Oh, is he the priest? Yeah, he's the priest.
Oh, yeah, I knew it.
That's why he's such a good horror movie actor, because of his voice, I feel like. I mean, he himself is also a spectacular actor, but he's got that voice that you just recognize immediately. It's like this really like just dark voice.
Deep.
It's so
I didn't even
good.
have to look up who he was in Corpse Bride. As soon as you said it, I was like, he's the fucking priest. Like, it's just such a thing that you do. Yeah, he does have that very much, you know,
icon.
Who he is.
He's wonderful. And then of course he plays Count Dooku in
Oh my
Star
god,
Wars.
don't. Do not keep your mouth shut right now.
My all-time favorite Christopher Lee role, of course, Saruman in Lord of the
Rings. Boo! We knew we were going to say that.
Anyway.
We knew it.
That was a really good choice, Shannon.
No, that was a really good choice. I just think, like, Christopher Lee is a really, like, he's kind of, like, especially since we just recently did a Dame Judi Dench, like, I feel like Christopher Lee's kind of got that, like, level of dignity about him.
Well, he's Sir Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Don't forget it.
Here's a very Halloween-y thing that I just found on his IMDb. So, in a series called The Weird Sisters in 1997, he plays Death. In a series called Soul Music in 1997, he plays Death. In a movie called Welcome to Discworld in 1996, he plays Death. He plays the evil sender in something. I'm sure that's Death. He's a raptor. I don't know if that's a dinosaur.
He's a raptor!
I'm trying to see if there's any more death
Dracula and Death and Dracula.
Yeah, Death and Dracula. I mean, come on, if you're gonna cast someone as Death or Dracula, you cast Christopher Lee. Well, R.I.P. to Christopher Lee. Love it.
Yeah.
All right.
That was fun.
Well, so we're gonna go ahead and just
shimmy
move on
over.
Yeah, just shimmy on over to our segment. And our segment today is
bad movies. Bad movies.
Honestly, it's quite an obscure movie because it was an independent film.
Oh,
before we start, can Sinead explain what happened to her today while she was trying to watch this movie?
Oh no, Sinead!
God.
Yeah,
I wish you didn't even know. I wish we just did.
I know.
This.
I wish we never corrected
it.
Yeah.
So Sinead, go on. What happened this morning?
I thought there was only one type of Ouija board movie.
Which is not even sort of true. Continue.
And I watch. We have a schedule, so sometimes I watch them. Like I prepare like a month in advance for this one, and I wrote my notes down. And then I had a gut feeling something's not right. I'll rewatch it today. I started rewatching it on Netflix. The Ouija. I'm like, yeah. I have so much to say about this. So much to say about it. Then I was like, the Ouija experiment. Well, there's no experiment in this title. I'll look it up. Sure, wasn't it the wrong film? Oh. I had to watch twice, and it was a really bad movie. And then I was like,
that next week.
I had to like ask for help. Also, how to find it.
Well, because honestly, the reason that you had a trouble finding it is because it's an independent film, so it wasn't like a big blockbuster. Shite. It wasn't produced by a massive studio. It had a budget of around I'll just move into my fun facts. Honestly, this is quite.
Cassie, tell us the fun fact.
It had a budget of between $1,000 and $1,200 total.
That's not a lot.
And it was produced in 9 days.
Oh, you can fucking tell, my dude.
I mean, in their defense, like, it was a quote-unquote found footage type film.
When you said your quote, I literally popped up on my glasses.
Your pop filter's on the other side of your mic. Nick.
I know, I'm trying
to... Okay.
She got excited.
So, but yeah, like, it wasn't produced by a large studio. It didn't do, like, you know, major casting or anything. It was produced by, it was basically kind of like the equivalent of like a student film. It was a bunch of people who liked making films. They wanted to make a horror movie. They wrote the scripts, grabbed a camera, produced it. And one thing that I actually commend them for, even though I don't like this movie in any sense really, is that they went for something that was like within the realm of like was feasible for them as young like, you know, young filmmakers with a limited like resources.
They knew what they could do.
Because so like, because also like, you know, they wrote the script themselves, but obviously to accomplish the whole like, you know, quote unquote found footage feel of the film, most of their dialogue was improvised between the actors. So like, you know, their conversations and stuff, or like when they, you know, were like they were just like, oh, well, you're supposed to get distracted, so just talk about something, you know? So instead of having like an actual like script with direction and all that, the general direction from the director was improvised. Just say whatever, you know, you would normally say in this kind of situation.
Never good.
Which honestly, you know, is not necessarily a bad direction. You have to have the right actors for it, and you have to have the right like guidelines in the script generally for it. So yeah, let's just, you know, just plow on into this story.
I'll just say it is a bad movie, but it's a great movie if you're just having a night with the gals.
Oh, put this on.
Put this on.
There's better movies though to put on.
It's good to take the piss out of.
It Chapter 2 was not a fun bad movie. This is a fun bad movie.
Fair, that is fair.
I could watch this a few times. The opening is so dumb.
Oh my god, the text in the intro, and they're just like, wow, what was the text in the intro?
It was something like,
it's based on a true story, and like
scientists have said that this is too disturbing. But watch anyway, or something like that.
My favorite thing in the opening, when he says he's a YouTuber, it's like,
oh my god,
honestly, all of the pop culture references from back in 2010 were in this film, and I was just like, why has 10 years been so long? Because, like, 10 years ago, not even sort of close to what shit is now.
Brandon, that character, he was Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro.
He looked like them.
He sounded like a news broadcaster from the 1930s.
Oh.
No, but, like, here's the thing. The characters were so stereotypical to the part that I just started to just
The movie was racist.
Oh,
I'm gonna
say
racist. The movie was fucking racist as fuck.
That being said, I was from the moment they came in. What was it, Lynette?
I like Lynette. Lynette was
Lynette and Michael.
She pissed me off. Irrationally, for no reason. I just, like, she was just grating on my nerves.
What is the bit? It's like, we literally didn't even talk. Guys, it's about a bunch of people that do a Ouija board. That's the plot of the movie. They get haunted. Yeah. That's all.
You know what?
Happens.
Okay, on that though, see, the issue that I have with this film, because like I said, I commend, and I completely, obviously we're young filmmakers, we're making films with like limited budgets and, you know, limited resources and all that kind of stuff, so I completely, I couldn't relate and understand all of the things that they came, like, you know, the challenges that they overcame and the things that they did for this film. But the big problem is that mainly the problem with the film doesn't really arise around any of the production problems. The acting wasn't great, but just overall it was a normal, like, low budget independent student film kind of a thing. It wasn't like, you know, I wouldn't put it in the bad category of those. It was quite average for a student film. The problem with it is the general concept and the idea for the film, like the fact that they wanted to make a horror film. Fine, go for it. Like, you know, if you have a good idea, why not? And honestly, as we were talking about earlier, horror films nowadays don't need to be like crazy awesome to be an enjoyable horror film. They just need to have like a good amount of like tense, scary stuff in them. But the problem with this one is, like, if you're gonna make a horror film about a Ouija board, you better have like a spectacular storyline, like a really good idea. Like, cause there's 20 gajillion movies about Ouija boards that are literally every single one of them is the same. They forgot to say goodbye. People come through the Ouija board and start killing people.
I need to tell you
That's
something
it.
that I found really funny about this film.
Okay.
And it's the only thing like I enjoyed, because I didn't really enjoy this film. Is how Brandon's a film bro, obviously.
Oh,
but
yeah.
when they come into his room, and they're like, why does he have so many goddamn computers?
And it's like, I wonder.
No,
It's almost as if he's
why
into
does he have
film.
so many computers? And he never explains it. It's like, oh, I edit. He just looks.
Yeah, no, he just is just like, God, shut up, guys. Yeah.
Oh, don't. I watch porn on all of them.
At the same time. One
It's
for
all
Steam,
different.
one for editing, one for porn.
Okay.
But the thing is, as well, what happens with horror movies is they do this thing. Because you remember, like, in the 80s, there was slasher movies galore in the 80s. Because they're like,
And then it's
that's
Ouija movies.
the thing with
Ouija
horror
movies.
movies. They make one movie from something, it's successful, like Friday the 13th.
And then everyone's like, oh, let's do that.
And it's like, we're only gonna make that for the next 10 years.
That's it, like, they make one horror movie, and then every horror director's ever like, I heard that, you know that new sound you were looking for? And it's a
literally,
Ouija board.
Literally,
And then-
it is.
And it's literally like in then the early 2000s, the Blair Witch Project happened. And they were like,
Or like
found
Saw.
footage!
Yeah.
The kids love it. Like, it's like, we don't.
This was the intersection of when foreign footage is going out and the Ouija board is coming in.
And they brought
yeah.
it together.
To make this horrible
Okay, no, but okay.
child.
Here's the thing.
Child.
We all watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
You're right.
Yes.
Michael is Glenn Howerton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he
Michael
is.
Yeah.
said,
He
he's like,
is.
whoa. Like
When he was like videotaping himself.
and he's like, hey, good looking.
What's going on?
I didn't want to.
That's got
Like, it got to a point. No. Okay, no. It got to a point where, like, when they found out when it's the whole flashback, which is stupid, of like
I hate
Lisa.
that flashback.
That was
Joseph
so long.
killed my child, and then Lisa
No,
killed
stop.
Gracie.
I
And then, like,
Fuck
then
Lisa.
it's the whole, like, moment, and then you're
Right.
like, oh, that was kind of. So it was kind of. In a film, like, it's a student film, I can give it. I jumped a little bit. It was stupid, but I was like, ooh, spooky. And next of all, it's Joseph and Gracie, and they're like, come with us.
Okay,
There's the
okay.
camera in the mirror.
What's going on?
All right.
What's going
All
on?
right. Okay. I have 2 points on that. First is about the flashback. So these are issues that I have with it because, like I said, I'm an independent young filmmaker myself, so I understand the the scope of like the abilities that they have and the things that they're able to do and the resources that they have. I get that, and I understand the challenges that they have, and I commend them for certain things. Like, for example, the special effect at the end with like her like running into the fire and then burning up. Like, honestly, kudos on that. That wasn't that bad considering it was a very low budget movie. So, but my issue is that like they kind of just like a lot of the I can't even organize my thoughts. I'm so angry about it. It's just like the whole thing is just like it doesn't they skipped over they didn't follow the rules of filmmaking, for example.
No.
Because I commend them for their choice in doing found footage because found footage is easy to do. You don't have to have this crazy cinematography. You don't have to have really amazing like sets and all that. Like you just you walk around with like a video, like a camcorder. You don't even have a professional camera. Like it's easy. But they didn't follow the rules of film. So if it's going to be found footage, why is there this produced flashback? Like, where'd they get the footage for that? Like, because that was there wasn't someone holding the camera in the scene. Like, that was acting with the invisible camera as a viewer. And it was it was upsetting. Like, it was just, and also the flashback itself, like the story that they came up with, like the fact that Lisa's the evil one. It was stupid because, like, yeah, it was the simplest version of that story. Like, if they were to go into it and actually kind of flesh it out a little bit more, it might have actually been really interesting. But the fact that they just were kind of like, Lisa's upset with, like, the guy that she's dating.
Goodbye,
and she doesn't like her
child.
daughter, and she thinks that Joseph is dumb, so, like, she's the evil one. Like, that was so... Like, put a little more effort into it, guys.
Poor Joseph.
I
just thought it was really atrocious how, like, I don't, like, mean to, like, get... Like, this isn't really, like, exactly, like, too serious, but, like, I know there's always, like, horror tropes, like, you know, like, the black guy dies first.
Which happened.
And that's bad. That's bad. but it's also the fact that they wrote the black guy in the thing as a cheater, a cheater, aggressive. He fucks up the entire thing because he steals the board. Like, they totally make this guy just the worst ever. And then,
not even the worst, like, he's the villain, but, like, the worst is in, like, he just
like,
sucks as a dude.
Stupid, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, and he's, like, tries to kind of tape his sex with his girlfriend.
That was so... I didn't like that.
I did like Shay. Shay was fucking ridiculous, but I liked her.
I think she was, well, because she was unbelievable. Like, she was unrealistic, though.
She was my problem
insane. Because the problem is that, like, there are insane people like that, but the way she, and I guess it was also just the actress wasn't great, but, like, the way she was portrayed was, like, it was unrealistic. Like, there are people that are straight up crazy, but there's no one who's, like, crazy like that, because that's not a realistic type of, that's just like a dumb, like, oh, this character's crazy, so let's make her crazy. Like, it wasn't, you know, I don't know. I had a lot of problems with the fact that, like, they were kind of trying to make a horror film, but didn't seem to have put much effort into the idea of it, and we're just like, let's make a horror film, and then just went and did it. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with the flashback. Like, they really didn't flesh out the whole story. They just kind of put the simplest version of the story to make you understand what was happening, but it didn't. I think they were trying to go for that shock factor of, like, oh, Lisa's the villain, but, like, it was stupid.
They also set it all in Fox.
It didn't. Again. Yeah, and obviously my big issue was the fact that the flashback was shown, and it's just like they should have tried to figure it out themselves, because if you're gonna do a found footage thing, you can't have, like, a movie that's all found footage, like, you cut together found footage.
Oh, that was so random.
And then, like, you have, like, a produced part of it, like that.
It was
like,
weird.
Was it like, this is portrayed by actors? You know, it was just stupid. And, like,
okay, no, stop. The production, you can tell they had no budget, because the budget literally said, sorry, no.
Well, which is fine, but there's ways to get around a low budget, though, because, like I said, the special effect at the end where she, like, burns and, like, disintegrates, that was pretty well done considering there was low budget. But, like, her dying and, like, cutting her throat and, like, it not really cutting her throat. And I was just like, you could have cut right before there. Like, there's ways of getting around a low budget, and they just didn't seem to care.
But also, like, no, they didn't execute really anything well.
Yeah.
Mediocre.
It's you know, when it goes to the flashback of your one with the kid, the color grading was like that grayscale.
Fox!
But
it was like sepia.
It literally looked like you know, like those true crime shows, it's like, and then Lisa put her child in the bathtub, and the child never left the bathtub. And then, what's his name? Joseph heard a scream. Like, literally, that's what it fucking had.
Remember?
That was like not reenacted footage.
That was hot, Kate. So aside from all this, because also, like, there was just small technical things that bothered me that, once again, it was more that me as a young filmmaker understanding their limitations and recognizing when it was something that they just fucked up on. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, and this is kind of something that I have a problem with even in big blockbusters with large budgets and really clever writing. I hate it when they do, like, webcam stuff and the person's staring directly into the camera and it's beautiful quality. I'm like, you know, you're staring at the screen.
Pixelated.
Well, it's not. It's just that it doesn't look believable, you know. And if you're staring directly at the camera, no one does that. No one talks to people when they're on webcam like that. They look down at the screen where they're talking to the person, so their eye line is not meeting. But that's a personal thing that I have issues with a lot of movies, because they tend to do that where they're looking directly at the screen. I'm like, that's not how people talk on webcam. But then, like, things, for example, like the interviews, like, once again, they were looking directly at the camera, especially for someone like, was it Michael, who didn't want to be on camera.
They're blended into one second.
Yeah. Like, Michael didn't want to be on camera. So, like, why would he be looking directly at the camera? If he doesn't want to be on camera and he's uncomfortable, then clearly that person would be very uncomfortable talking to a camera. He'd be talking to the person who's holding the camera. So his
Michael
eye line
couldn't
would
make
not
his mind of how he felt
like,
about anything in this
also,
movie.
like,
Michael's
the
like,
newspaper
I hate the
clippings
camera.
pissed me off because they look
Michael
stupid
did not
and
know
fake.
how to act.
Like, make a fucking, like, it's not hard to make a realistic looking newspaper clipping. Like, there were things that I was just like, come on, guys. Like, I know you guys have a low budget, and I know you guys are inexperienced independent filmmakers, but, like, there are things that you can do that, like, make things a little bit more, like, realistic. Like, even if you have a shit idea and the script is horrible, at least put a little bit more effort into making it look good. You know?
You know what? It is what it is. It's bad.
But yeah, it was upsetting. But anyway, I mean, so there isn't much more to say other than this movie is shit.
It's shit.
Does anyone have anything else?
I don't have anything else to say about it.
All right, well then let's rate it really quick, and we'll wrap everything up. So I'm going to go ahead and give this movie like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah. Like 2 brand Michaels in the mirror out of 10.
Same.
I'm going to give it a 4 for the fun factor.
Fair.
You do that.
I agree.
I'm going to do that.
So, before we head out, Kate, what have you been watching this week since you're our guest this week?
I've been watching The Boys season 2. The season 1 came out last year. It's really good. It's on Amazon Prime. It's like it's a show kind of about like superheroes, but it's like a very realistic take on how if superheroes were real, they'd probably be like marketed to hell. Mm-hmm. And like they're just like celebrities. Like celebrities in real life are often not very nice people. And it's just a kind of show about that, and it's very gory and very gross, but the new season's very like they deal with some like real topics in like ridiculous ways, so yeah, it's fun. It's a fun gross time.
I haven't really been watching anything new because I'm still trying to finish watching How I Met Your Mother, and I'm still watching Who's Line. I'm still watching football, like all that. I did recently watch Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love it, absolutely. That also reminded me because we watched it, and it was just like the knights who until recently say "ne," how they couldn't say the word "it." But yeah, all that. But yeah, no, and that's pretty much the only thing that I've really been watching.
NATO.
Mid-90s.
Did you like it?
Whatever way you want to be.
What is it?
It's a show. It's a movie. Sorry.
I know, it's really nice. No, I liked it. Mm-hmm. But the one thing, I did definitely want to hit that child. He's a skater boy.
He said, see you later, boy.
It's quite nice. It's like, it's just like it's a light film. I feel like it's light enough in a way. Like, it's a child going through adolescence in 90s California as a skater boy. And sometimes I did want to hit him because he shouted at his mom. Stop shouting at your mom.
You had no reason not to have children, huh? Anyway, Jess, what have you been watching?
Kate made me watch the babysitter movies, and I hate that I enjoyed them.
They're so good. They're really good.
Like the ones on Netflix, like about like...
The second one is horrible.
I liked it.
Lies.
No. As just like...
I've never seen a more tasteful sex scene.
Sexy was so tasteful.
That's how you should sell it.
No, it is. No, that was good, that part. The dance.
Yeah. Cassie's like, what the fuck?
Sure.
No, they didn't. They just like hinted at it, but instead they done a dance scene.
And there was like a rocket ship going off and a roller coaster. It was a great time.
And a flower.
And it was good. I enjoyed them. I liked both of them.
Okay.
Well, that's it, guys.
I think that's about it. So, Kate, as our guest, would you like to plug any like social media or anything for us?
Yeah, I've got an Instagram. It's Strawberry Stripe, like strawberry, and then with a stripe at the end, all one word. Yeah, that's where you can find me. I do be drawing some fucking silly shit.
Okay. Well, all right, guys. So thanks for listening. Happy Halloween. Hope you have a nice
Happy Halloween.
Nice safe time. Keep with COVID guidelines.
Happy
and all that. But yeah,
stay inside.
Tuned. We still got some fun stuff coming for the rest of the season. So thanks, guys.
For more content, you can find us on social media at The Movie Rats and online at themovierats.com.
New episodes up every other Sunday on Spotify.
The Movie Rats is produced by Dirty Bird Productions, as well as Adam Carr, Sinead Barrell, Jess Boylan, and Cassie Egger. Art by Kate Doyle, and music by Sinead Barrell.
Thank you for listening.